team. Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.
Hello and welcome to IBM Presents The Leaders Code, a series aimed at bringing senior executive teams from India's prominent corporations to uncover their leadership code and showcase how they are guiding their organization's transformation journey. In this edition, the spotlight is on the leadership team from Canara Bank. Let us join my colleague Ritu Singh, who's in conversation with the leaders from Canara Bank and IBM.
In the last few years, digital innovation has been the driving force for the banking and the financial institutions, with a focus on customer convenience, accessibility, and system performance. Now, both customers and employees, as well as regulators, are embracing the reliability, the convenience, and the efficiency that comes along with digital financial services. And this has prompted financial institutions to refocus their digital and data transformation initiatives, not only to cope up with the new socially distant reality, but to also tap into a new digitization momentum. Now, welcome to Leaders Code in partnership with IBM, a special series that is going to span across moneycontrol.com, CNBC TV 18, as well as Forbes India. Today, we're going to take a look at another banking institution which has its own legacy and its own command in the market. All banks have been challenged at various levels over the past 24 months, and they have been able to weather the storm even as they continue to grow. But Canara Bank has been able to demonstrate to the industry, to the clients and the shareholders why it remains one of India's most premier banks even today. Let me introduce our special guests for today, starting with Mr. L.B. Prabhakar, the Chairman and Managing Director at Canara Bank, Mr. Debashish Mukherjee, Executive Director, Mr. Satyanarayana Raju, Executive Director, Mr. Brij Mohan Sharma, Executive Director at Canara Bank again. To my right, Mr. Sandeep Patel, Managing Director of IBM India South Asia region. We also have with us Mr. A.V. Rama Rao, the Chief General Manager and Chief Risk Officer at Canara Bank, Mr. S.K. Majumdar, the General Manager and Chief Financial Officer, Canara Bank, Mr. Atul Kumar, General Manager of IT at Canara Bank, and Mr. P.V. Janardhan Rao, who's the General Manager and Chief Technology Officer at Canara Bank. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us today. Mr. Prabhakar, let me start with you. You know, it's been about 2 odd years since your amalgamation with Syndicate Bank. What's the experience been like? What are some of the synergies that have come out? Some of the lessons for the industry to adopt, especially at a time now when, you know, we're seeing more mergers and consolidation for the financial world?
I think the amalgamation process was very smooth because of 2 reasons. Canara Bank, Syndicate Bank, both are incorporated in Karnataka. And both the banks have a significant presence in Karnataka. Syndicate Bank used to have about 800 branches. Canara Bank used to have about 1,000 branches in Karnataka. Culturally, we are same. And during amalgamation, we have taken care about 2 things. One is customer satisfaction, customer grievances, and the other thing is satisfaction of my employees. Generally, people think that after amalgamation, vacancies will come down, opportunities will be less. But in Canara Bank, we proved it different. There are more promotions, more avenues, and customers got more benefits, more limits, more products they could enjoy because of the amalgamation. And really, the synergy effects in Canara Bank after amalgamation of Syndicate Bank and Canara Bank were tremendous. And one thing which I can say is regarding the operating profit, which at the time of amalgamation, which was about 12,800 crores, today it is 23,000 crores. So I am satisfied that we could do justice to the amalgamation.
Mr. Patel, let me come to you on that one, because, you know, at IBM, you have this global perspective of working with banks around the world. Technology is no longer, just an option for banks anymore. It's sort of all pervasive, like we were talking about, and it's become a differentiator for banks for the ones that are doing well and the ones perhaps that are lagging behind. What are some of the trends that are emerging in this field that you've observed?
So, I'll talk about 4 key trends. Right? One is along the lines of what Prabhakar talked about, which is pervasive digitization in the banking space. And just to give you a couple of data points, uh, I think there's a recent survey I saw that said that over 60% of next-gen millennials today, they are ready to move to a totally digital banking space, and which is giving rise to a lot of newer banking options that people are coming up with. So this is something which it's a phenomenon that's happening. Now, what that is also leading to is in that digitization, how do you, as Mr. Prabhakar also said about uh, getting to better customer service, how do you get to personalized service? There's another data point that I've seen recently which says that about by 2024, about 30% of all banks will be using some form of responsible and relevant personalization in the right way to use it as a competitive differentiation to actually gather more clients and so on. So that whole notion of digital banking and doing it with the end client in mind and customer in mind, that is huge. The second one is we've also seen the whole phenomenon of digital payments that is all over the place. I think India has actually been at the forefront of that. But that is one of the areas also which I think banks need to continue to stay ahead of, because that is going to become more and more pervasive. The third area, which I think becomes a very important uh, underlying factor, is resilient operations. So this is operations where you actually use data analytics, artificial intelligence. There's another data point that I'd seen recently where it was over 50+% of it was saying that by a certain point you will have banks that will be using artificial intelligence and others to actually monitor anti-money laundering kind of functions and others on an ongoing basis. The other thing which is related to that, the security posture, the cyber security posture that banks will have to manage. I think Asia, in the latest cyber threat report and others that have come out, Asia is one of the most attacked, and 70% of those attacks are in banks. So how you actually manage security, fraud prevention, and others, that becomes very important. And then the last one, which is I think we are seeing this phenomenon of uh, this whole being environmentally conscious. So the notion of responsible banking, that is going to become more and more relevant in terms of how are you using your banking operations to both support environmental issues and so on, but also how you are, working with your customers and others so that they actually see you as an environmentally responsible banker in terms of your, whether your lending operations are actually helping to reduce carbon credits and so on. Those are the themes that are coming up, which will have a bearing on technology. So these are sort of four broad themes, which I think we are going to see them become more and more relevant beyond sort of the digitization in banking.
Okay, Mr. Patel, thank you for giving us that macro view, but let me zoom in again to Canara Bank and your financial performance. And that's because after a long period, Canara Bank has been able to declare dividends. So tell us about what went into it, how you were able to improve your performance, and what are the lessons for the industry to take from here?
I can say two things which are mainly responsible for this good performance. First one is the involvement of my staff, from sub-staff level to the top management level. Everyone has contributed, and we have executed the schemes and the strategy very effectively so that the results are visible with minimum efforts. Other point is, after amalgamation, the synergy effect of Syndicate Bank and Canara Bank has resulted in excellent growth. And the most important point is the technology which we are leveraging has also helped us in improving the business. In the last 2 years, if you see the figures, yes, Canara Bank has done very well. Our aim is to take care about our staff and also to take care about our investors. That was our main aim. After 2016-17, Canara Bank and Syndicate Bank have not paid any dividend. So we were very eager and very interested at the earliest possible time
To turn this around.
turn it around and also to pay the dividend to the investors. So board has approved about 65% dividend, and in the AGM, once it is approved, we will be distributing the dividend to our investors.
How important are partnerships? When it comes to leveraging technology, how important are partnerships? What role do they play?
I think we live in a digitally connected ecosystem today. So partnerships are a part of the equation. I mean, whether there are two banks that are amalgamating and coming together, or whether there are technology partners. I mean, any bank, including Canara Bank, they have multitude of technology partners, and all of us have to actually work together to ultimately deliver value to the bank and to the end customer. So I think ecosystem partnerships are a way that are going to become, a differentiator and a success factor for anyone and any industry in the world to come.
All right, on that note, Mr. Patel and Mr. Prabhakar, we have to thank you both for being with us. The rest of you, I'll request you to stay on so we can continue our conversation.